What if I told you there's a menu that does it all for you? ProxMenux. I'm Zack Perry, let's get into it. You ever SSH into your Proxmox server, open up 10 browser tabs for documentation, and still forget that one command that you need? Yeah, same here. But what if I told you that there's a single command menu that turns your Proxmox terminal into an interactive control panel? So let's talk about ProxMenux, because this might be the tool that every Proxmox admin needs to know about. How's it going today, folks? Zack Perry back here with 45 Home Lab, and today we're diving into ProxMenux, a lightweight menu-driven management tool for Proxmox VE that makes system administration faster, simpler, and honestly, a little more fun. So this is not meant to replace the Proxmox web UI in any way. Think of it more like a command line sidekick, something that helps you deploy VMs, manage ZFS, configure networks, you even handle PCI pass-through, and all from a single text-based interface. So hardware setup. Let's talk about hardware. For today's test environment, we're running everything on our little HL8 here, our compact steel-built storage server designed and assembled right here in North America. Here's the full build that we're working with today. So chassis is our HL8, of course. We have our direct wire backplane, so no multiplexer, so you're taking full advantage of the drives without needing to, share that bandwidth. The motherboard is a Gigabyte B550i Aorus Pro AX. A lot of words here. CPU AMD 5700G, memory 64 gigs of DDR4, and for storage we have 4 Micron 5300s, 480 gigs in a RAID 10 for ZFS to give us great performance, responsiveness, while keeping power draw and noise low, and perfect for Proxmox management, automation, testing. So what is ProxMenux? It's an open source utility built entirely around making your day-to-day Proxmox tasks easier. Created by GitHub user MacRimi, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Their GitHub repo is in the description down below, and it's basically the Swiss Army knife for Proxmox admins, whether you're a beginner, setting up your first node, or you've got a multi-node lab and you just want to streamline your workflow. Now, instead of me talking about it the whole time, let's actually get this installed. It's dead simple, so you're going to SSH in your Proxmox host and run bash-c wget. We'll see the whole thing here. It'll be in the description. It'll be in the MacRimi's GitHub repo, and once you hit enter, it'll handle all that heavy lifting and installs the dependencies like bash, curl, JQ, whiptail, Python 3, then V sets up a Python virtual environment for translations, creates a shell alias so you can just type menu to launch it anywhere within the terminal. And of course, like I always say, careful with scripts from the internet. Check the GitHub source first, make sure it's legit, make sure there's no issues that could cause any, game-breaking sort of things. Doubt it, but always good to check. So first, once the install finishes, we're going to type in menu here. All right, so now let's actually do our install here. So the actual bash command that I mentioned before, we'll go ahead and run that. Now, once it goes through there, it'll take just a second. It'll ask us for an installation type. We're just going to do normal, since that's all we have here. And then it's going to go through everything, installing our dependencies. So I'd already run through this before on my home system. So JQ is already installed, as is dialog, curl, so on and so forth. And once it completes successfully, all you have to do is type menu. So let's take a look here. We'll run that, see what it looks like. And if you're familiar with NMTUI or any sort of dialogue-based or whiptail-based interactive menus in the shell, this is going to look very familiar to you. So let's see what we have here. So we have some post-install Proxmox scripts, settings, etc. that we can use. GPU and Coral TPU hardware. We can create a VM from a template, disks and storage manager, mount, share manager, helper scripts. So in a previous video, here, comments somewhere, it'll be linked where we actually go over the Proxmox helper scripts, network management, utilities and tools, help and info, settings, and exits. So instead of me just reading through everything, let's take a look and see what we actually have. So let's start with our settings here. So customizable post installation script, automatic post, install optimizations, and then there's also community scripts from the Proxmox helper scripts website or GitHub page that I previously mentioned. And we won't go through all of these here. I highly recommend taking a look at it yourself, seeing what it can do for your own environment there. And one thing I really like about it is that it's telling you everything that it does within when it actually runs through something. So one that I ran through was actually, I believe it was in Disk and Storage Manager. Yeah, so we can add disk pass-through through a VM, and when we click that, so if you've done it before, it's not hard to do. You go to the VM, if you have a disk that's available, you go add PCI pass-through, add your disk, boom, you're done. But if you have a purely headless installation, or you kind of want to see what it's doing under the hood, I really, really recommend this tool because it's a great learning tool. There's some things that I didn't know under the hood what it was doing that this actually exposed a bit. So let's look at our home lab. Actually, I'm not going to add anything. Yeah, let's do it our home lab one here. So we selected our VM. That's one thing. It'll warn you to power it off there. Since that's my actual home lab, let's not do that one. So we have a nested Proxmox here, which is our VM ID 121, and that'll take a second there. This doesn't actually do anything, test environment, so forcing the stop like I did there, not a massive deal if it's not anything that is relevant to you, but we can see that's now off. So let's add that disk, and we can see that was 121, so we'll scroll down, Proxmox, detecting available disks. Now, depending on how many disks you have, type of disks, etc., it can take anywhere from a couple of seconds to a moment or two. So yeah, as you can see here, it took just a couple of seconds. We have one disk available in here, just a SAN disk, 128 gig. So let's go here, we'll accept that, go to OK, and then we have what we want to actually add it as. So interface type, SATA, SCSI, VirtIO, IDE, and we can see all of mine are currently set to SCSI. So SCSI, or let's see what we have. We have our actual controller is SCSI, VirtIO SCSI controller here, but let's go here and select VirtIO, just so we can see what it looks like when it gets added to the system here. And again, depending on size of the disk, everything that, varying factors. This is me just filling dead air while we wait for this to proceed through. It can take anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes. Wait for that to go through. Alrighty, so about 30 seconds. And so SanDisk has been successfully added to VM 121. So as you can see here, just so we can easily differentiate it here, we have our VirtIO 0. It's now here, and just to show what the process looks like in Proxmox itself, we'd go to add, we'd go to our PCIe device or USB device. So depending on how you actually have the disk added, hard disk, this is how you would do your pass-through. Typically select it through here, okay, and then it would add it there. So once we do this, and there are a few other steps beyond that, but that's kind of out of the scope of this video here. But now let's go to menu again. And let's see some of the other things that we have. So network management is one that I didn't look into too much because, well, just didn't have the time, but let's see what we actually have. So real-time networking. Oh, there's actually some great tools in here for analyzing your connection, doing any connection tests. This is actually really useful. Disable NIC offloading. Oh, wow. This is very, very good. So let's take a look at our real-time network usage. See what we have here. So I only have a few VMs that are actually active at the moment here. To exit IF top, press Q. Yep, will do. And we can see here, nice. So yeah, as we can see here, we have all of our actual interfaces, what's going on within our Proxmox instance here, but won't spend too much time there. Advanced Diagnostics. So this is kind of a journey for the two of us. You, viewer, me, the person in front of the camera stumbling over his words, but let's see what we actually have here, because like I said, haven't got everything, but Advanced Network Diagnostics, so common issues, network manager not running, no duplicate IP addresses, listening, okay, good enough. And let's see, show network config file, create network backup, restore. I really like that feature, creating a network backup and restoring. So yeah, this is the kind of I really like with these kind of open source tools, is that there's a lot of things. Yeah, you can do it through the GUI specific Proxmox commands more than, but I'm a big fan of having everything condensed in one area, like so having these sort of dialogue trees sort of deal here. So let's see now. Utilities and tools. Now this I'm curious if it's just going to use Proxmox helper scripts or it's going to be something else. Upgrade. Okay, they have the upgrade PVE to PVE9 in here, so I've already done that, so won't be able to do that one too much. But system utilities installer, let's see what we actually have here. Development tools, compression tool. Nice, so it's grabbing a lot of common things that are in a environment, not just specific to Proxmox itself. But let's see, so get Vim Nano. Let's see what we have here. So Vim I know is already installed in here, as is Nano. I default to Vim 99% of the time. I know I'm going to get some flack for that in the comments, but let's see here. So again, we can go through and just, grab these things, do a apt install, wget, install the packages manually here, but just having it all in this easy to navigate and simple sort of menu here is really impressive. And I am a really big fan of this. So let's see, get us installed. It's available, installing Vim. And I think I mention this every time I mention Vim in a video. There's always going to be that one person that's like, I use Emacs, which I've never used Emacs, but there's always that one person. But anyways, so we have those installed there, and I'm not going to keep you on the line here and let's just go through every single thing. Let's go through and check out one more here. So let's see. I'm kind of interested to see how in-depth the helper scripts are. So is it just going to be a small amount? Oh, so it's literally just pulling like all of them, putting them in the categories here from the, what is it now? Proxmox helper scripts GitHub repo. Very interesting. Nice. Okay. And then it tells you to actually where you can see it at. So I like that. Oh, speaking of giving dues, we already did for the actual person who has the GitHub repo. Where I find a lot of my Proxmox stuff is virtualization how-to. I'm sure a lot of people already are familiar with them if you do virtualization, but their video or their write-ups, their website, it's fantastic. That's how I learn about a lot of these things, how I can take a deeper dive into them. So this is that was the jumping off point for this, and then the GitHub repo, testing it here. So a link to their actual article will be down below as well. And with that said, so I know a lot of you might be saying there, it's like, okay, this is great, but we can do this in the GUI. So that begs the question, why? Why use ProxMenux? So here's the big question. Why use this instead of, a normal CLI or web UI? You can accomplish a lot of things in seconds that would take, multiple commands, consistency. So every menu follows the same pattern, so you always know where to look. It's lightweight. It doesn't install a web stack or blow your node. And as I mentioned, great learning tool. Even if you're new, you'll see exactly what commands are being run behind the scenes. And it's a great way to actually learn Proxmox, great for headless servers. If you manage a remote or air-gapped Proxmox node, ProxMenux gives you GUI-like control through just SSH. And honestly, it feels like a Proxmox helper script meets TUI dashboard mashup, which is a very good thing in my opinion. And support updates, ProxMenux is still evolving quickly. You can check for updates or feature additions right here on the GitHub page that I had mentioned previously. If you find it useful, consider giving it a star to help with visibility, or even contribute translations and feedback. So whether you're new to Proxmox or a seasoned admin looking for a faster workflow, ProxMenux is worth checking out. It's lightweight, well-organized, and turns complex tasks into a few keystrokes. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite tool for script or managing Proxmox. I might cover it in a future video. And as always, I'm Zack Perry with 45 Home Lab. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And if you want to see everything we have on offer, head on over to store.45homelab.com. Our socials are in the description below, along with everything else we talked about. And that's about it. See ya. What if I told you there's a... Oh, hello.